Morning, everyone. Morning. Lovely Sunday morning. Zoom listeners, morning to Facebook listeners. Welcome again to our Sunday House of Talk. Please share before we begin. Please share so that everyone is aware that we are on. Especially people on Facebook, please start sharing before I begin. I will give us 2 minutes, then we can begin. Then maybe let me make sure we are recording on Zoom. Is that we record on Zoom?
Recording in progress.
Awesome. Zoom is on. So you're welcome, everyone. Zoom participants, Facebook participants, please, especially people watching us from Facebook, share the link so that we can begin. You're welcome as usual. Sunday. This is the time we come to our class, our house of talk. Every Sunday, you are welcome. Every Sunday we meet here 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Every Sunday, every Sunday we come. So please keep sharing, share with your friends so that we can begin. We are always excited to have you in class, and it is always awesome because we begin to understand the value of life. We begin to understand how it's so good to be in this situation we're in as human beings. We begin to go to the right direction. We begin to understand what the Creator intended for us to be. It's awesome. And today we're going to have a very wonderful time. And I would love for you to share with your friends. These are good moments. This is a good time for us to delve into human issues. You give people a chance to see something normal on social media. Social media is full of hateful things, full of topics which don't build the human being, topics which divide, topics which brings grief. And you notice the human race is dead in the mind. We are lost in our minds. We are living in a time where people they pride in running to listen to gossip, listen to evil words, listen to bad topics. People find leisure in hateful things. And you notice on social media, even people who are listening to these hateful pages are in their millions. People listening to the messages, the truths we are discussing now, maybe even this hand will not be full. But please invite your friends. We will continue trying to help the world see reason, help the world begin to function the way it was supposed to, it was intended. This voice is not going to be shut. We will always do that. So please invite your friends so that we can begin. It's awesome. We are excited. We are happy you are here. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we meet every Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is our household talk. It's a talk to humanity. It's a message to the humanity. Message to the four winds. Message to the four kinds of humanity. Black, white, yellow, and brown. Come every Sunday. Listen. Come and join this platform. Share with your friends. Let's listen. Let's not always run to social media pages where there are millions of people and what is discussed is just hateful things. All right, I think that is good enough for us to wait for those who are supposed to join us. Please, but continue sharing. When someone shares with you, you also share with another. Because we need to preach this message over the rooftops. Preaching this truth through the rooftops means you to touch all human beings on earth. And to do that, we need the internet. That's why we bid you every morning, share with your friends, share with everyone. So welcome once more, welcome. You are free to be part of this group. You are free to support it. You are free to be part of this family. We will do you good. You're free to be here. Thank you. Please share with your friends. We need to begin. Share. Let them not just be running to pages which are hateful on social media. Let them sometimes come and listen to reason. We bring reason to all four humankind: white, brown, yellow, and black. This message is just for that. Come and you will not be disappointed. Please share when you succeed in getting into this. Please share. You are all welcome. We meet 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Sunday. And this is a place where we bring reason to the human being. A place where we replace the Adamic mind with the mind of truth, with the mind of God. This is a place where we see humanity as one. And it's a place where we come to talk to each other. If you have something to say, please, you can try and be part of the video, or you can call the number on top of this video after we are done, the live, or you can even type. You're welcome. It's a dialogue. It's not a monologue. It's a place where we dialogue, not a monologue. And it's a place where we see every human being as family. We don't come to discuss people. We come to discuss solutions for mankind. It's a place where we don't have enemies. Like we have always said, we don't want to have enemies. If you feel you are my enemy, if you feel I've hurt you, reach out to me, and I'm not going to be proud. I will give you that forgiveness. Like we said, you always leave an enemy a way out, because there are no permanent enemies and there are no permanent friends when it comes to the flesh. The world is very dynamic. So you're welcome. So okay, I think let's begin. Others will still join us, and you can still continue sharing. Share this link. So we learned quite a bit from Adam. We've learned quite a bit from man thus far. But of course, we have learned a lot of things, and we have learned what didn't work. Now we want to discuss what truth requires for us, for man to work this earth. So we learned quite a bit from Adam, and we give him the credit for that. If you're going to be a judge in any circumstance of people, then be a just judge. Don't involve emotion. Human being has been destroyed because of emotion. Because what you need to do is to use your head before your emotions take over. And if you want people to respect you, you give the respect. You get respect by giving it. That's being civilized. And remember, we talked about this last week and the other week. You need to live by the golden rule. And this golden rule is to do to others what you would want them to do to you. In short, all things are possible when our minds are open. And this is a place where we want your mind to be open, your mind to run wild, your mind to just be open to learning and understanding. It's a place where we begin to teach to heal yourself. So we must, and when you begin to heal yourself, you must treat the whole body. You treat the whole body, not just flesh. You treat the heart, the mind, and the spirit. And then you begin to understand, to understand. Because then man needs to be glorified. The scriptures say we need to be glorified. And when the scripture says man needs to be glorified, Glorify means enlightens. Man need to be enlightened. Man need to begin to be the knower, to begin to know who he is and what the Creator intended for him. Glorify means enlightens. The Bible in the book of 1 Corinthians 15:40 says, there are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory, the enlightened, the illumination of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. 1 Corinthians 15:41, there is one glory of the sun, another glory of the moon, another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. That's why I say the truth was sent to the earth, to the SUN of man, because remember, enlightens are different. The SUN, the Son of Man, comes to enlighten us. He is the overall light. So he is glorified more than we are. He is enlightened. But you know, we have learned a lot of things from Adam. Like I was saying, that's why now he's not going to fool us twice. Like the saying goes, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And you know, I always say when you're in this class, buckle up, have an open mind. I know and I understand, folks, I understand you can't compel people to do right. And I'm not here to compel anyone to do right. I'm here to speak truth. That the scripture says, the truth which I speak will judge you. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm not here to compel anyone to do right. Because you can't. You can't compel people to do right. So now, we are in a dilemma which has brought us here. Adamic mind, Adamic way of doing things. We're talking about philosophy, science, religion. We are saying we have learned a lot, but we know also what has gone wrong. Because the outcome of our civilization has come with pain, people losing their way, people choosing social media of hate than social media of truth like this one. If I was talking about another human being, or if I was teaching lies, I would have had 10,000 of followers. But because people have not understood who they are and what they were intended to be. Let me tell you clearly, let me be frank, it's a classroom. Religion, hear me good. Religion is a very inexpensive psychiatry. It's like you're going to a psychiatry who's free. In short, religion is a free psychiatry. It doesn't solve anything. It just settles things for a while. Let me say that again. Hear me good. Religion is a very inexpensive psychiatry. It doesn't solve anything. It just settles things for a while. But for those who are seeking to know the word, truth, belief is no use. Open your mind. I want to be very slow. Listen to me today. Religion is a very inexpensive psychiatry. It doesn't solve anything. It just settles things for a while. But for those who are seeking to know the word or the world, who are seeking to know the world, the truth, belief is of no use. Because belief means that you are assuming something you don't know. Something that you don't know. That's belief. On the other hand, seeking. I'm a seeker. We are seekers in this household. And I told you before, believers are many. Seekers are alone. So in belief means that you are assuming something that you don't know. On the other hand, seeking truth means that you are unwilling to assume anything you don't know. You don't assume. And you know, belief is a consequence of social influence. I'm in this church because my mother went there, because I was raised like that. I'm in this belief, I'm an atheist because I was brought up in an atheist environment. That's what they say. Those are all beliefs. Atheism, Christianity, scientific, philosophy, those are all beliefs. And I'm saying belief is a consequence of social influence. It has no existence or significance. Man must begin to understand that as we go now into the next chapter of humanity, the 7,000-year period. Belief is a consequence of social influence. It has no existence or significance. Only what you perceive genuinely is what you know. The rest is your imagination. Things you perceive genuinely is what you know. You know that if you don't go for work, you will die of hunger. So the things you know, the things you perceive genuinely is what you know. The rest is your imagination. So the human, we begin now to try to go into these things deeply. The human mechanism is the most sophisticated mechanism on earth. Human mechanism is the most sophisticated mechanism on the planet. Everything, listen to this, everything that ever happens to you, everything which is in you, everything that ever happens to you, pain, joy, and misery, agony, ecstasy, even light and darkness is only happening within you. Physical pain, on the other hand, physical pain is a natural phenomenon. But things like, but mental pain, listen to this. Physical pain is a natural phenomenon. Physical pain is a natural phenomenon. Mental pain is something you do to yourself. Sorry for that. So physical pain is a natural phenomenon. Mental pain is something you do to yourself. That's what I'm saying. I hope someone understands that. Physical pain is natural. Mental pain is something you do to yourself. Because the way you think or the way you feel is entirely your choice. That's why I said you cannot force anyone to believe. The way you think, the way you feel is entirely your choice. The presentness of your body and mind is 100% your business, unfortunately. There are no excuses. Are we together? Let's enjoy this. Let's have an open mind. And you know, the way we live on this earth, people will ask questions without understanding. You know, in this world, it's true that we slowly gather our bodies over a period of time. We become who we are from zero, from the womb. We gather our bodies from a period of time. So this is just a piece of earth, like this body. It's a piece of earth that you gathered. If you have to gather so much, so what I'm saying is that because this is our bodies, it's true that we slowly gather our bodies over a period of time. So this is just a piece of earth that you gathered. So if you have to gather so much, something more fundamental must be there. Like I told you earlier, this is the truth which we are discussing here. Truth from God. Truth, the eternal truth, which is infinite, different from facts. Science offers facts. Sometimes they call them theories. Facts are subject to change. Truth is absolute. And you know, for 6,000 years, man has been given dominion over the earth. All we have done is damage the earth. We have created in all of us 4 human beings, black, white, yellow, and brown. we have an Adamic mind. And anyone who received a gift from an Adamic mind is always in trouble. The Adamic mind eats your brain. So when I say the Adamic mind eats your brain, I mean they replace your brain with their ideas. You start thinking like Adam. And you've noticed that I was even saying on social media, our brains are eaten. We are dead in our minds. We thrive on things which hurt others. Even on social media, if you go now, you go and take stock of social media. What pages have a lot of likes is the pages which are talking about things which harm human beings, gossip, and all that stuff. So please, you welcome and have an open mind and be ready to learn. So even as you are learning, we should disagree with knowledge rather than without knowledge. Because it's difficult to teach, to convince someone to do right. But if that person wants to be an upright person, we need to disagree with knowledge, whatever we disagree with, rather than without knowledge. We know that truth moving into creation. We're saying your brain has been replaced by Adamic brain. Our brains are what we call devil. Devil, I told you, remember, is an acronym, DEV, divisor, ILL, illusion, divisor of illusion. All what our brains devises is illusions. So, but now the truth wants to come and replace this devilish mind. And that truth, I told you, truth, one of the attributes of truth is God. G-O-D, grantor of dominion. So when that truth comes into your brain, you have a godly mind. So God moving into creation is creation, which is truth moving into creation is creation. So God moving into man, God, or rather truth, God, truth moving into man is man. God moving into nature is nature. So the identity of the creation with its creation power. This is the concept of analogical resemblance. I've talked about this. And the scriptures show us, the scriptures tell us the identity of creation with its creation power. That which is above is like that which is below. That which is below is like that which is above. The parallel created that which is called medieval science. A science based upon the similarity of things. The idea of humanity, the idea of macrocosm and microcosm. That the universe was a great man. You begin to understand the earth. The universe was a great man and man the little universe. Like we say, man is a miniature universe. He who understands himself begins to understand the mysteries of God and the universe. The law of analogy is operating in our lives every day as a force as a force in our thinking. A man is what his mind is. That's what I'm saying. And if your mind has an Adamic mind, you're going to have a devilish mind, devil, divisor of illusion. All your mind has illusion. You see that the civilization we have made thus far is a situation of illusions, not reality. So, that if his man's mind has experienced, that if his mind has experienced is re-identified with God, how he experienced life. If man has experienced truth, man re-identifies himself with God. That mind, like the latter quicksilver, absorbs all things into itself and transforms them. It's the agent that cannot cease functioning until all positives, all opposites are reconciled. The truth wants to reconcile all opposites. Man can never rest. We will never. man, every time God is going to raise up a mind, even when things are bad, man can never rest until he has achieved all that which is necessary for the reconciliation of all opposites within himself and around himself. This is what we're saying. We come in class, we begin to identify those things, and we begin to move as a new man. Man is therefore the reconciler. God created this mind of man to reconcile. The Bible says the whole creation is waiting eagerly for the reconciler, for the appearing of the sons of men. Man is therefore a reconciler of all opposites within himself. He is that power. He is the power that brings heaven to earth and raises earth to heaven. As above, so is below. Man is no longer with man, black, white, yellow, brown. I'm speaking about man in unison. Man must begin to understand man is no longer a toy in the hands of destiny. Man must begin to take his place. Man's business on earth is to lend the earth and grow. He is no longer an instrument subject to the mechanization of unknown forces.
Sorry, sir.
Okay,
For the Zoom session, the first session is about to end in a few minutes. So the advice is so for the person is once the lockdown, let's plug in that with the same dashboard. Once the lockdown is over, we can listen to the second session. Thank you.
All right, that's a message for people who are on Zoom. Log back in when you're logged out. So man is no longer a pawn of all the credit deities. Man is the master of both God and nature, truth and nature. The whole creation is waiting for the manifestation, for man to realize that, to take his place. Because man was created on earth to deputize the Creator. The Bible says, Genesis 2:2 says, and God rested on the seventh day. The word there in the Hebrew language is mulaka. Mulaka is to interpret it in a way anyone can understand. Mulaka means to send forth someone as your deputy. So man has a place like that in creation. So people on Zoom have been kicked out. Please, you can log back in so that you don't miss this lesson we have started. Let me just bring you back in. Zoom people, sorry you are kicked out, but you can log back in so that we continue where we have ended. All right, let's have a good time, folks. Just relax. Let me just bring the other people from Zoom so that we are on the same page. So, we continue. Money is no longer a pawn of all the credit of what they call the deities who control us. So, man should, oh good, we have people from Zoom back now. Yeah, welcome people on Zoom, please, and let me know. Give me the recording rights so that I can record. So, and by the power of reason, the mind of God in man, the power of reason, all things that are divided, broken, or injured can be brought together and healed. This is what we're saying. We need to start now projecting man towards. Thus, the healing power of unity. Healing power of unity. So, Zoom people, please, you're welcome back. We were just waiting for you. I'm just trying to keep the Facebook people busy also by talking to them. You're welcome back. Do we have the recording rights?
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much. All right, then let's go now. Let's move on. So we were talking about man. We were talking about man. We were saying the mind which God gave to man originally, if we bring it back, the mind we want to put in you, So saying by this and by the power of reason, all things that are divided, broken, or injured can be brought together and healed. Thus, the healing power of unity, the restoration of division, the bringing of all that is necessary to man and his ability to use it, digest it, assimilate it, and transform it from theory to practice. All these powers rest naturally within the capacity of an individual. Because man, even the Bible says, who is man that you are mindful of him? Man reconciles heaven and earth. I told you heaven are the scriptures. We discussed that. Is the truth. Earth is who we are, ignorant, mankind. So man reconciles heaven and the earth through God's wisdom vested in man. First Thessalonians 5:23 says, and the very God of peace sanctify you wholly, and I pray God your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. So, what am I trying to say? We need to train the mind, prepare the mind for certain experiences. We need to attain illumination, knowing above intellect. Remember, intellect comes from human study, but we need to illuminate our mind above intellect. This is the strange journey homewards. When man begins to do that, man is heading home. Man is beginning who he was intended to be. This is how serious this classroom is, because we're pointing men into their direction. Today, I'm just talking roughly. The past weeks, I was teaching things which sometimes were confusing, but now I want to prepare your mind to understand what we're doing here. So we need to attain illumination above intellect. This is the strange journey homewards. We need to go home. Homeward means reclaim the mind we had. Man is not only capable for redemption. Man is not only capable for redemption, but he carries within himself the ability to redeem. One of the reasons that intellect is given to man is that man should discover his own job. God gave us intellect so that we discover our job. And I told you our job is to learn the earth and grow. So man was given that so that he discovers his own job. The purpose of man on earth is to assert the universal mind over nature. Assert the universal mind over nature. That's why Paul says the whole creation is waiting eager in anticipation. They are waiting for the manifestation of man. That is the manifestation of the gods from the sky, of man. I hope this is making sense. If it is, you can text for me and say it's making sense. The purpose of man on earth is to assert the universal mind over nature. That's our purpose. Listen to this. Our mind must assert universal mind. Our business is to assert universal mind over nature. But that does not mean we must be tyrants. So not as a tyrant, but as a gardener. Man is a gardener on earth. He's not a tyrant. Man has a job to do every day. Folks who are listening to this, you have a job to do every day. Remove a weed of false knowledge out of nature. That's your business. Skill in man becomes skill of God working for all things. Because remember, man is the deputy of God. It deputizes God. That's why you notice the sages, Jesus and everyone will tell you that those who are the mind of God were called gods. It was said you are gods, but there was a catch. Unto whom the word came. And they were not gods because this of the flesh, no. The mind which was in them was God. So we are not tyrants on earth, but we are gardeners. Man has a job to do every day. Remove a weed of false knowledge out of nature. I was saying, skill in man becomes skill of God working for all things. Thus, an individual who goes on and improves something plays God. So when you go on and improve something on earth, you play God. That's why it says they were called gods. You play God. And an individual who destroys anything plays devil. For 6,000 years, we have destroyed the whole earth. We have destroyed the whole earth with our beliefs. I was saying in the beginning when I started, we destroyed everything by our beliefs and understandings. I was saying belief is a consequence of social influence. It has no existence or significance. Only what you perceive genuinely. What you perceive genuinely is what you know. Is what you know. What you perceive genuinely is what you know. The rest is imagination. And I said religion is a very inexpensive psychiatry. It doesn't solve anything. It just settles things for a while. But for those who are seeking to know the world truth, belief is of no use. Because belief means that you are assuming something that you don't know. On the other hand, seeking truth means that you are unwilling to assume anything that you don't know. So we need to begin to move forward as humanity. We are on earth to learn the earth and grow and to work on creation, but not as tyrants, but as gardeners. So a person who goes and improves something, plays God. And an individual who destroys anything, plays evil, plays devil. So that each individual has the right and power to have a divine participation in the improvement of things. You have that right. Each individual has the right and power to have divine participation in the improvement of things. That it's not his duty or his place to simply wait until deity does all things. It's not man's duty to sit and wait for some external force to do things. Rather, deity expressing its primary power through the potential wisdom of man. Deity releasing its own mind through the human mind. It forms of all humanity, one mind for the accomplishment of its own works. This mind, the human mind, folks, this mind you think is small. When I'm saying in this classroom, we need to transform your mind. This mind, I've got people who are lecturers from the universities on this platform, and people who understand these things. This mind is the author of all books on earth. That book which you thought, that mathematics calculus which was difficult to solve in that big book, someone wrote it. People who are doing electronics, they have got a book called Talaja. This big, they call it the Bible of electronics. Someone wrote it. A mind poured itself in that book. This mind we are trying to talk about, which we need to change as the human race, is the author of all books, the author and originator of all knowledge, and most of all the patron of all skills. What skill are you talking about? Foundry, going into Mars, creating things which are unbelievable. Mind. And this mind can be put to a better task to create the next generation of humanity. But this cannot happen, like I said, when the black, white, yellow, and brown people stick together. Like the creatures in the book of Ezekiel 1 verse 4, I believe. Creatures, 4 creatures, and they look like men. They were men. Those 4 creatures are black, white, yellow, brown people. It says they only moved in one direction, in a straight line, when their wings were connected. So we need to be connected as humanity for us to be like that. So the greatest of all skills on earth, folks, is the skill to transform. We need to transform. Transformation. The greatest of all skills is this skill of transformation. This skill of transformation by which all things are transformed from a lesser to a greater state of law. For 6,000 years, man has been lesser. But the Bible is saying we need to go now into the 7,000-year period. So man has to transform from being lesser to a greater state by law, by truth, and by lawful procedures. Lawful procedures, man becomes skillful in the administration of natural law. That's what we're saying. Lawful procedures. Becomes the preserver of his planet. The whole creation is waiting for the manifestation of the Son of Man to preserve this planet. Becomes the perfecter of his way of life and makes possible all other good things, so that not only man but all nature enjoys a wonderful fecundity and prosperity. So all things are under the sovereignty of their superiors in nature. Everything is under the sovereignty of its superior. And that is the duty of the, and that it's the duty of the superior to guard the inferior. It's also the duty of the inferior of every level to revere and obey that which is superior. Not as a tyrant, but as a gardener, remember. So man is the chief of creation in this case. He is the natural ordained ruler of life upon which he exists. He is better equipped. You are better equipped. That's what we're teaching you on this platform. And after, that's why I said, sit in this class. After six months, 1 year, you look at life differently and you understand who you are. He is better equipped. Man is better equipped than any other creature visible to him for the advancement and common profit of the whole earth. Man's superiority gives him the right of service. He is responsible for all that is on the earth. The whole creature is waiting eagerly for man. He is responsible. But man's sovereignty, like I've been saying, is duty. It's not tyrant or stepping on another person's toes. Man's sovereignty is duty. He is the God of the kingdom beneath him. Kingdoms beneath us have an elegancy to us, as an allegiance to us. And in any degree in which we fail to make the common good of this, because they have an allegiance to us, like I said, the lesser things revere the higher things. So the kingdoms beneath us have an allegiance to us, and in any degree in which we fail to make the common good of these things, to that degree we are false gods in nature. That's why you see now we have got the earth which is sick, ripped. We've got the earth which has viruses, which has diseases, because we felt as the superior. I hope this is making sense. I'm saying kingdoms beneath us have an allegiance to us. And in any degree in which we fail to make the common good of these things, to that degree we are false gods in nature. Remember, man was given dominion over the four corners of the earth. But we have failed. So all science only exists for the purpose, all these human science and everything, they only exist for the purpose of equipping the individual to the service to which it was intended. That's what we need to change in our curriculum. Everything we learn as human beings should only exist for the purpose of equipping the individual to the service to which it was intended. Science, hear me good, lecturers, you are here. Science is not to give us mastery over nature. Please. Science is not to give us mastery over nature, but to give us insight into nature. Every human being must be one. Black, white, yellow, brown. I'll keep saying that until the world listens. Because even when you are two, you are in trouble. You two minds, you must be one. Two is the symbol of division, and division is death. And man is dead in the mind. That's why you see people doing things you can't think they should do to other people, because we are dead in our minds. But when we begin to grow nature, there is restoration. Because all growth in nature is restoration. And restoration is reunion. We are bringing down the 7,000, the rest for nature nature itself and for man. Growth in nature is restoration, and restoration is reunion. It's not easy to cause an amalgam two stones. You can't bring two stones together. That's what I'm saying. Two is death. Physically, things cannot be identical. Even twins are not 100% identical. Having a separate existence in body, they can't. They are not identical. Therefore, when I say union, union is not to be attained in body, which however is not a misfortune. I'm not saying it's a misfortune, not in any way retarding of the progress. But we're talking about giving you the mind which has truth, not Adamic thinking. So before things can be united, they must achieve a victory over the body. Before we can unite, we must achieve a victory over body, because things outwardly cannot unite. Inwardly, things easily unite, which is the strongest union of all. If this can be true, though bodies might not be identical, minds can come to a common union. Minds are compatible. That's why we're saying it's possible for black, white, yellow, brown to work together, because minds are compatible and must move on to identity. Our identity is oneness of humanity. Today I'm speaking very friendly topic, which we can pick up even as we begin to build on this, as I go through our everyday Sunday talks, 9:30 to 11 hours, you begin to understand what we are talking about. Because we have been saying we need to, we have been saying that you don't kill the body, because the body has got nothing to do with the evil which is in the world, but your mind. It is even said that the mind is the slayer of the body, because the body does the beating of the mind. So now, on this house of talk, we kill your mind, kill the Adamic mind and put in the mind of God. Are we together? So, we're saying the mind is the master of the body. But what is the master of the mind? Spirit. And please, those who have been in class, you understand these terms. When I say spirit, I'm not being religious. Spirit does not mean a parallel world or something you cannot see. No. John 6:63 says, the words that I speak are spirit. Spirits are words, not human words. They are called spirit because they are not human words. These are words which stand on their own. It's truth which stands on its own. The words that I speak are spirit. But religion gives you now illusions. No, they're spirits. Even when it comes to angels, we believe angels have got wings like a bird and they come with a sweat. But I showed you. The words, the spirits are words. And then Hebrews 1:7 said, Hebrews are ministering spirits. So if spirits are words, then angels are ministering spirits. So if spirits are words, then angels are words. So angels come with a sword in our midst, in our Bible stories. A sword. These are words. How do words come? They come through the mouth. Sword, S-W-O-R-D, S, spoken word. Angels come in spoken word. They come with a sword. They come in spoken words. So, spirit is the master of the mind. Truth. The word which I speak are truth. And these words are what will judge you, not me. The scripture says. So the spirit is master of the mind. Whereas mind is accountable to the body for certain leadership. It is accountable to the spirit for certain obedience. That's why if you misbehave in the body, you're going to suffer consequences. For all things must obey superiors. So in as much as the body must obey mind, the mind must obey spirit, the word, the truth. If there's a breakdown, there's a problem. All things must obey superiors. Therefore, mind is the messenger, the instrument, the intermediary, the messenger, God. I hope this is making sense. So, there is no mystery. Let me tell you, there is no mystery in this world. When you come to households like this, you begin to understand. There is no mystery except the mystery of ignorance. There is no mystery except the mystery of ignorance. Everything mysterious is simply something not understood. At the end of mind, when this mind is gone, when our evil thoughts, the Adamic mind is gone, which has created this dead civilization, at the end of mind, there will be no mystery. Mystery is simply something not understood. No mystery except the mystery of ignorance. But do you know that my mind can birth you when I'm through the words which I speak? Because mind is capable of giving birth. The mind as mother and father itself. The mind as a kind of Melchizedek, a priest forever. The mind is not exhausted in the perpetuating of knowledge. This mind, when given the right environment, it doesn't tire to learn, to know. But in the human mind, this mind which cannot tire, cannot be left alone, fancy, foot free, loose. That's why you have seen now, we have destroyed the four corners of the earth. God left us alone to subdue the earth. So the mind is not exhausted in the perpetuating of knowledge. There can be no creativity, but creativity in the mind comes when there is truth. There can be no creativity without law. There can be no procreating of the mind unless the mind is lawful. Even this mind, to give birth to a creature, to your mind, this mind must be lawful. So there can be no procreating, there can be no giving birth of another mind unless the mind is lawful. That's what I'm saying. This house of talk is awesome. No one is fooling anyone, because no one can. The truth stands on its own. I don't have it. No one has it. It stands. It is what it said. I am that I am. It is what it is, and it has got rules. Remember, I showed you that my mind can give birth to another mind, but that mind cannot procreate the mind unless the mind is lawful. Otherwise, it's going to create a devil mind, a mind full of which devises illusion. So certain minds have the power to go beyond the common acceptances and to achieve certain things when they follow the law, of course. You see? Just like even in our natural way, there are thousands and thousands of good parents who realized in an abstract way the need of their children's education. Before there was education, parents realized we need to do this. They knew that there had to be a way to bring essential knowledge to the young. They knew that. Remember, I'm saying certain minds have the power to go beyond the common acceptances and to achieve certain things. They go beyond what you think. They go beyond your comfort zone and bring out enlightenment. You see, so before education, there was such people also who brought our education. You see, there are thousands and thousands of good parents who realized in an abstract way the need of their children's education. They knew that there had to be a way to bring essential knowledge to the young. But from among these parents, all these things are in your history. A person known as Amos Komeski or Comenius came forth with a creative concept of an extract method. And that method has given us the modern public school. So some people go beyond, as long as they live, they are creating this in a lot of way. These things existed as dreams first. Just like now, my words are like dreams now. These dreams are sometimes handed on from one to another before they are realized. I might not bring to fruition what I'm saying. Maybe you, the listeners, and the next generation can pick it up. But the process has begun to make man understand who he is. You know, the truth is one. There are not 10 truths. That's why I said the 4 groups of people must unite and become one. The truth is just one. In human understanding, we call that monotheism. God's existence is monotheism. Now, I want to school you further than that. God's existence is monotheism. For monotheism is not primarily the existence of only one God. When you understand, monotheism is not primarily the existence of only one God. The Jews actually had many gods, but they chose one God. God's existence is monotheism. For monotheism is not primarily the existence of only one divine person in nature, but of one divine principle in nature. The monotheism I'm bringing to you is the existence of one divine principle in nature, one truth, one divine principle. I'm not discussing religion, I'm discussing principle, something beyond it, because religion has brought us to where we are, pain and hell. So there is only one divine principle in nature. That principle being reality. That is the reality. When you follow it, you live in a reality rhyme. That principle is what we call truth or God. This principle is the great fire, one fire, from which all the sparks have come. The great fire is one deity. The sparks are the polytheistic expression of that deity. In fact, there is the belief of polytheistic coming from one great fire. And nature, is every part of which is filled with the life and power of God. These sparks are pantheistic. I don't know if you're understanding this. These sparks, remember, monoistic. The sparks are the polytheistic, and nature, every part of which is filled with the life and power of God. These sparks are pantheistic in a sense that they represent God growing up through nature. That's how we represent truth as human beings. They represent this one power. Growth is the manifestation of life. Anything that grows as life, if you don't grow, you are dead. That's what I'm saying. Man has not been growing for 6,000 years in the mind. That's what I'm saying. We are dead in our minds. That's why we do unthoughtful things on each other. So anything that grows has life. Growth is the manifestation of life. And if something does not grow, it's dead. For 6,000 years, man has not grown. We are divided. 4 people living their own life. Everyone thinking they are the favorites of the Creator. Black, white, yellow, brown must come together. Otherwise, we're not doing anything in this world. So, we live in a substance of monotheism. One truth. The truth is all 4 humanities must work together. I was saying we need to reach a level where we go beyond intelligence. Intelligence is less than God, but greater than nature. We know that. Intelligence is greater than nature. Remember, God gave man dominion over the earth. So Adam has successfully dominated the 4 corners of the earth. But at one point, he threw away his superior, the truth. He created his own truth. Now, what Adam has created is D-E-V-I, is created devil, deviser of illusion. So God, he refused to return God. That's why I say the natural man without the absolute truth can teach you everything you need to know about science. And I always say,
just to remind us, sir.
Okay, Zoom people.
Yes, for the Zoom people, we are running out of time. For a minute, less than 10 minutes to wind up with our second session.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So God gave Adam the power, four corners of the earth, but he didn't. He rejected his superior. I said every inferior has an allegiance to its superior. Even the earth, which is superior to man, has an allegiance to man. That's why whatever man does to the earth has consequences. So Adam did that without truth. The point I wanted to give before I was interrupted by the Zoom watchers was that you have said that Adam was given the ability to subdue the whole earth, and he has done it perfectly in a physical sense. But he did not couple that with the spiritual sense. And I always say you will be a fool not to learn from Adam about the physical things. But this household has come to teach you now the spiritual things. The spiritual things, like I said, spirit has got nothing to do with another life or a spooky thing. The words that I speak are spirit. The truth is the spirit. So this has not come to destroy Adam's work. What we are talking about here is that Adam must move beyond what he has done. He has conquered the four corners of the earth, but he has done it without truth, without God. That's why now we need to go now into perfection. But you will be a fool not to learn from Adam on the physical sense. But if you want to learn the spiritual things, you will come to learn from households like this. Don't know if that makes sense. So intelligence is less than God, but greater than nature. That's what I'm saying. So Adamic intelligence is greater than nature, but it has not gone on to the spiritual side. That's why now you see the four groups of people are divided: black, white, yellow, brown. Blacks are in Africa, white are probably in Europe, yellows are in Asia, brown like that, Asia, But we need to come back together. Everything above man has a faculty beyond reason, and everything beneath man has a faculty less than reason. That's why man needed something above him to have a good reason. That's why man can't be together, because they rejected their superior, the truth. Therefore, as man ascends, as we begin to learn to go back to our home, to the way we should think, as man ascends, he moves from the reasonable to the intuitional, to the inspirational, and to the illumined, to understanding. As he lives coming down from reason, it goes down into instinct, into sense, into attributes, reflexes, and sensitivity, which he cannot really understand. Reason moves upwards as all other things. Man is gradually moving through reason. This is what we're doing here. We need to move upwards, reasoning through truth. So join us every Sunday. This household we meet every Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 11 on Facebook. Come and listen to something sobering. Not every day going to be a number of 10,000 subscribers on social medias where they hate each other, insult each other, teach you about illusions. So man is gradually moving through reasoning. That's what we are saying. Man is the only animal that would look at the sky and determine to conquer it. That's what we're saying. Because God said the whole creature is waiting eagerly for the manifestation of man. He's the only animal on earth who can look into the sky and determine to conquer it. Man is learning the magic of his mind. There is no tragedy in this world. Adam has fooled you. Even you are in pain now because you refuse to follow the truth. But when you begin to go back to the truth, there is no tragedy in this world. There is only free will. You get my point? There is no tragedy in this world. There's only free will. We are dying. We are doing things are happening to us because of what we chose. There is no tragedy in this world. There is only free will. So you should know that all this mess is us. And the Bible says only man is going to fix this mess by returning to truth. That's why we bid you by day. We bid you every Sunday at 9:30 to come and listen to this truth here. And you are free to call the number on top or type or be part of this or support this, because this is the truth which will bring you back to yourself. So, the capacity to play God to nature, even as he bows humbly to the God of nature. Because remember, man, they were called gods unto whom the truth came. So there is no tragedy in this world, there is only free will. But the capacity to play God in a good way to nature, because God has given man nature. Even he has to do it as he bows humbly to God. So, another question I was given, I wanted to answer on the sideline is, does God perform miracles? Because religion thinks God is a person. I told you God is truth. So, my simple answer is, there is no need for God to perform miracles, because it is stated in that scripture that with God, all things are possible. So where is the room for miracles? With truth, I told you we are in pain because of the choices we made. There is no tragedy in this world. There is only free will. So Matthew 19:6 says, but Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God, not some, God with truth. Remember, truth, God is one of the attributes of truth. God is an acronym for grantor of dominion. But with God, all things are possible. Mark 10:27, and Jesus looked upon them, said, with men it is impossible, but not with God. For with God all things are possible. So therefore, where does miracles come in at all? If God can do anything, then there is no problem of miracles. Truth, which is God, which we're going to teach you. I showed you. The Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was actually God. Then he said, sanctify them through thy word. Thy word is truth. So if word is God, then truth is God.
So we are about to be locked down.
All right.
So,
So, truth, with God, with truth, all things are possible. So truth is God. Truth has attributes. God is one of the attributes of truth, grantor of dominion, G-O-D. So if truth can do anything, then there is no problem of miracles, because the all doings of truth of God is of the nature of God and not miraculous to God. It's his nature. All creatures are gods manifesting among gods. It was said, you are gods unto whom the truth came. I hope this is making sense. I know today I was talking to you. I didn't go in those difficult lessons we have, but this is going to help us even as we begin to understand those other lessons. But folks, please give this household a chance. Come to class. I know we can't force anyone to do right, but if you can just try a few Sundays, you'll begin to understand what we're trying to talk about. So, I think we are almost going to our 1 hour. We'll continue next Sunday, but I would want my hosts, if they are online, to summarize what I said. For those, I know the other people who joined us late, quickly summarize what I said. So I think I'll invite Mamlumbuka for that.
Thank you very much, Rev, for the opportunity to give a summary of today's talk. So I'll try and be quick. So I think you started by reminding us that the human race needs to live as one. You cannot have permanent enemies, and permanent friends in the flesh also is not possible. You mentioned that human beings have destroyed, as human beings, we have destroyed the earth and each other because of emotions. We need to function through the mind and not through emotions. You also mentioned to us that we ought to live with respect with each other. We get respect by giving it, and we need to live by the golden rule, which is that you do unto others as you want to be done to you. You also then began to remind us that all things are possible if your mind is open. There's a place of what we know as healing should not just be in body. It should be a total healing of the mind, the spirit, the soul, and the body. And also you showed us that for this to happen, man needs to be glorified. And glorified in this case entails enlightenment. So to be glorified means to be enlightened. And then you showed us that in 1 Corinthians 15 verse 40, where it talks about one star different from another star based on glory, that is based on enlightenment. So in this case, the Son of Man is enlightened with the truth, and he comes to bring us the truth so we can be enlightened. So you mentioned to us that this also shows that the truth was sent to the Son of Man, who comes to enlighten us. He comes to glorify us, which is to enlighten our minds. And so you also began to speak about how you cannot compel a person to do right. Only the truth can cause them to do right. And from what Christ states, that the truth that I speak will judge you. And you also reminded us, I think for me this was quite interesting, that religion is a very inexpensive psychiatry. It does not solve anything. It simply settles things, but it doesn't give a permanent solution. But for those willing to have a permanent solution, you have to be a seeker. So for those seeking to know, you have to be a seeker. And then you define the difference between seeking and believing. Belief means you're assuming something that you don't know, while seeking means that you are unwilling to assume anything you don't know. So for me, this was quite profound, that actually the solution lies in us being seekers, because believing simply means when someone tells you something, you take it as it is. You don't question it. You don't verify, which becomes quite a problem. And I think you qualified this when you say that belief is a consequence of social influence. Philosophy, science, religion, atheism, all those are a consequence of social influence. It has no existence or significance. So, which means that we ought to be seekers. Then you also showed us that things that we perceive genuinely are what we seek to know. So it's important that we actually are seekers. You also reminded us that human mechanism is the most sophisticated on earth. Everything that happens to us, within us, the sorrows, the happiness, the joy, the anxiety, etc., happens within us. But physical pain is a natural phenomenon, while mental pain is something that you do to yourself. I think in my master's, I had a chance to do a course in psychiatry, and it's quite interesting to note what mental pain can do and what it can, basically what it can present with. Eventually, if mental pain or mental disorders are not treated, they do get to present as depression and etc., they actually present into more complicated aspects of mental well-being. So you also reminded us that the way you think or feel is extremely your choice. For me also this was profound, because there's a lot that is under our influence as human beings that we tend to expect deity to come and resolve. But when you say that the way you think or feel is entirely your choice, the pleasantness of your body is 100% your business. I think the advent of social media has shown us that sometimes we're seeing young people committing suicide simply because I can't achieve a particular body, I can't achieve a particular, maybe because somebody is presented as glamorous, I can't be that. We are seeing a lot of teenage suicides, etc. So this for me is quite profound, that we are actually in charge of the pleasantness of our bodies. It's 100% in our power. Yeah. So you also mentioned to us that over time, we slowly gather our bodies from a period of time. Our bodies are a piece of earth that we gathered. And I think last time you mentioned to us that we're a sum total of our perceptions. So which means ultimately what we are is cumulative over time. So, and I think also, again, getting back to what's happening currently with how the world is a global village, I think this becomes even more profound, because then what we allow to get into our mind and to feed is going to be what will be a sum total of what we are. So if you have to gather, you mentioned also that if you have to gather so much, something must be more fundamental, something fundamental must be there. And you also reminded us that science offers facts and is subject to change, but only the truth is absolute. For the 6,000-year period that we have, the 6,000-year period when Adam was given dominion, we have destroyed the earth, we have destroyed each other. We have allowed the Adamic mind to eat at our brain, our minds. The hate we see on social media, the gossip, you see so many thousands of viewers there, because that's what we have allowed the Adamic minds to do, to eat at unity, to eat at everything that is noble. So you also mentioned that even as we learn, let's disagree with knowledge. It's important, I think, for me, in the academia, who's in the world of academia, we always debate with knowledge. You'll notice that academics will not debate based on no evidence. There's always something tangible whenever you are bringing across your point. So for me, this was just a reminder that I think as a human race, we need to be able to disagree with knowledge if we have to disagree. So you also mentioned that our brains have been replaced with delusions. And so it's difficult for the truth to replace illusions if we don't allow the truth to do so. The devilish mind, which is a deviser of illusions, is what we have allowed within the 6,000-year period. And so God moving into man, it means man becomes, has a godly mind, and vice versa. Then also you showed us that man is a miniature universe. For man to understand God, he needs to understand himself. You mentioned that a man is what his mind is. So if man has experienced truth, he identifies himself with God. If man cannot rest until he has achieved all that is necessary for truth, and man is the reconciler, the whole creation is waiting for the manifestation of man, which is through the appearance of the Son of Man. And so man, it shows that man has the power that should bring heaven to earth and vice versa. And so man needs to take his place. And also man is the master of the truth and nature. He was created to deputize God. According to Genesis 2, you mentioned that the word there, mulaka, means to send forth as a deputy. So for me, this was very insightful, because if you are made to deputize someone, it means what they're capable of doing, you are capable of doing as well. So by the power of reason, you also mentioned that by the power of reason, all things that are broken and injured can be healed. So from if man was made to deputize God, meaning he has the ability to actually heal brokenness. So the healing power, you mentioned also that the healing power of unity restores division and rests naturally within the capacity of an individual, meaning man has the ability to do that. You also told us that our minds need to be enlightened above mere intellect. Yeah, so you mentioned that man is not only capable for redemption, but he also carries within himself the ability to redeem. He was given intellect to discover his own worth, and his purpose is to accept the universe and mind over nature. Then you also mentioned that this is done not as a tyrant, but as a gardener. You also mentioned to us that skill in man becomes the skill of God working through man, because God deputized man, according to Genesis 2. Then you also reminded us that an individual who improves something plays God, and one who destroys plays devil, which is a device of illusion. So each individual has the right to have the divine participation in the improvement of things. For me, this showed us that each one of us has a purpose on earth, and we are to participate in the improvement of things. When we see, for example, how Africa is behind in terms of development, etc., it shows to us that there's something that needs to change within our minds, and to realize that we have the capacity to do that. You also mentioned to us that it's not man's ability to wait for deity, but deity aims to express himself through man. So deity aims to express himself through man. And then you also reminded us whatever knowledge we see on this earth, the mind is the author of all of it. With whatever books we see that are written, whether it's mathematics, whether it's neuroscience, whether it's geography, whether it's medicine, whether it's law, all those books that are written in that gives knowledge are all authored by mind. Hence, the mind is the possessor of all skills. Yeah. So I think he reminded us that to achieve this, again, the four humankind has to come together, according to Ezekiel 1, verse 4. And you also mentioned that the greatest of all these skills on earth is the skill of transformation from a lesser to a greater state of law. And so this has to be done by lawful procedures. So by lawful procedures, then man becomes skillful in being able to preserve all natural laws. And I think in the last one of the teachings, you also mentioned that what we see as miracles is actually following lawful procedures. So it is the duty, you also reminded us that it's the duty of the inferior to reveal the superior. And so man is the chief of creation. He is better equipped than any other creature on this earth. According to you, well, in biology, I remember that we have lower animals and higher animals. So man is a higher animal. He's more equipped than the lower creation. And so man's superiority gives man the right on earth. And also man's sovereignty is his duty. He's the God of the kingdoms beneath him. Then you reminded us again that man was given dominion over all four corners of the earth. And also that science, what we see as science, exists to equip individuals to service, which he was intended for. And so science is not to give us mastery, but it gives us insight. For me, who's a researcher and coming from the academic world, it's actually true. So what science does, actually it gives us insight of what already exists. So the human race then can only do this if they work, they come together as one. And then also, I think towards the end, you showed us that when we begin to grow, that is a restoration of whole human race. Restoration is reunion. Before we unite, we must achieve victory over the body. You reminded us that you don't kill the body. It has nothing to do with the evil that we see. It's the mind. What needs to be changed is the mind. The body does the bidding of the mind. So the master of the mind is the body. The master of the body is the mind, and the master of the mind is the spirit. And you reminded us here that spirit means the words. When John, I think in Christ said in John 6:63, that the words I speak to you, they are spirit. So which means that spirit here is the word, the truth. So the mind must obey the word because it is the messenger. And I think something that was very eye-catching for me is when you say there's no mystery in the world except the mystery of ignorance. I think ignorance has destroyed us much more as human beings than anything else. What we don't know, we can't do and achieve. So everything mysterious is something that's not understood. I think this will liberate our minds from thinking that somebody has to come and do something for us than doing for self, which you always tell us to do. Yeah. You also reminded us that one mind is capable of birthing another, okay, yes, capable of birthing another. So a mind has some kind of Melchizedek, which is capable of learning. And so there can be no creativity without truth. Yeah, it must be lawful, hence being able to birth another mind, because we are a sum total of our own, of the perceptions, like you mentioned last time. Yeah, so you also mentioned that growth is a manifestation of life. Anything that grows has life in it. We need to go beyond intelligence. Intelligence is less than God, but it's above nature. So God gave Adam dominion, but unfortunately the mistake Adam made, you enlightened us that he refused to retain God. He rejected his superior, which is the truth. Because of that, he has killed the earth. Yeah, so he didn't couple it with spiritual things or with a spiritual mind. He has been able to have dominion over the physical things and taught us a lot about the physical things. But now it's time to teach mankind the spiritual things. So everything above man has a faculty above reason. And you mentioned that there has to be a moving from reason to intuition to inspiration before understanding can occur. And also you mentioned that man is the only animal that would look at the sky and determine to conquer it. I mean, if you look at the aviation industry, for example, it's man that made that. Yeah, and so you also lastly mentioned that there's no tragedy in this world. There's only free will. So if we talk about the aspect of miracles, it's with God all things are possible. So it's already his nature to do anything. So then where do miracles come in? And so this is the thought that you ended with. Thank you so much.
Well, that was it. Today was awesome. Thank you all for joining. Please, you are free to be part of this classroom every Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 11. Join us and you will learn a lot of things. We need to bring man to his original state. I want to thank you, all of you who came today. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm humbled. Please come again next Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Every Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 11. You're free to be part of this. You're free to support this. You're free to call us on the number on top of the video. This household will always be here. Please share this video to everyone. Let us all come together and discuss issues, which brings us back to who God intended us to be. There's a lot of hate on social media. People are so excited. I've got 10,000 followers who are following gossip. For a change, follow something which will bring you into the right path. Thank you all for coming. I will see you next Sunday. And if you have anything to ask, please, you are free to call us. The number is on top of the video. You are free to text. This video will be on Facebook, recorded. You can go back to it and learn these things. And then this is also going to be on YouTube. You can go back to YouTube. And please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube so that every time the new video comes, you are alerted. Thank you all. You are awesome. You are a good family. Please come and join us. This is good for the human race. Black, white, yellow, brown. We need to come together to move in one direction. Thank you. Bye. Next time.